I scripted that for an earlier. Thanks, Paul. So, on behalf of Codemaster, welcome along to our F1 2011 preview event. Last year, we developed and published our very first F1 game for HD consoles and PC. Yeah, we got a bit of a reputation in gaming, but you remember, this was the first game from our new team at Codemasters Birmingham. But what a result. It's the first game, it's the first F1 game for 10 years to hit #1. It's become the fastest selling F1 game ever. We've shipped over 2 million copies. Earlier this year, it picked up a BAFTA for Best Sports Game ahead of some really good competition. And actually, we'd like to thank everyone that followed us on that journey last year and supported us. Our press guys, our retail partners, our guys in the community. Seriously, really big thank you. At the end of the day, F1 2010 was a brilliant success story for British game development. We're very proud of it. But now, on to this year. F1 2011, coming September 23rd for PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and PC. That'll be followed then by a brand new handheld formats joining us this year, 3DS, PlayStation Vita. They'll follow on after the HD and PC launches. But this is the year when F1 gaming gets seriously competitive. Today we're going to talk about our multiplayer functionality. We've got the 16-player network down there on the floor, and we're ready to race. If you haven't already, you've got a few hours yet to play it and have a go. We're unveiling for the very first time our brand new split screen mode. That's on the screens running either side of the room today. That's good for hands-on as well. Go through your boots on that. And the track we'll be racing on today, we've got our brand new Silverstone track, so we're showing that off for the very first time. A little preview of the main event this weekend, actually. You'll also be able to ask the dev team anything. At the end of this presentation, the boys will stay on stage, we'll do a press conference style Q&A to get any of those big questions done and covered. And don't worry, the drink service will resume as soon as the presentation's done. There's a food service coming out as well, so we'll keep you fed and watered. We'll keep gaming right through to about 7:30, 8 o'clock, so you're welcome to hang around and enjoy it. Before we kick off properly, one piece of housekeeping from a media point of view. Coverage for today is certainly hands-on. We're running under an embargo of this Friday at 10 AM. That's A, to coincide with the start of the British Grand Prix weekend on Friday, but also to give a chance for everyone here to enjoy their evening, time to prep their stories tomorrow. We'll circulate some screenshots, brand new stuff, around tomorrow. You can go live from that embargo. One final point, the video we opened with, and you'll see again in a little bit, that hasn't been yet cleared for public release. We've got a few little things just to edit to that, but we will do that shortly. And if possible, get that around to everyone on the press side for Friday's 10 AM release time. Okay, let's get this started. Please let me introduce your host for the presentation. He's the voice of Formula 1 on BBC Radio 5. It's Mr. David Croft.
Sorry for getting your name wrong,
especially if you wrote it down.
But quite frankly, you wrote this down, and you've got the scrawl of a 2-year-old, which makes me wonder how you ever got the job. And I've got the brain of a 2-year-old, which makes me wonder how I ever got employed in the first place as well. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome along to this event presentation. Are we all okay? Yes. Right, British Grand Prix starts here right now for this weekend. And the first thing I've got to do, because I'm under orders, is take a photo of you lovely people that I can tweet, right? So on the count of 3, I want you all to shout F1 2011, and we'll get the best Twitter picture of the day so far. So 1, 2, 3!
F1 2011!
That's rubbish. Look, I know they turned the games off and you can't play the games for a while, but can we do that again, please? Because I kind of want happy people, because it's the best weekend of the year coming up, and it does start now on this Wednesday. So, 1, 2, 3!
F1 2011!
Magnificent. Thank you very much indeed, and welcome along. As I say, the weekend does start here, because it is British Grand Prix weekend. It's only fitting that we launch, really, to you guys, F1 2011 on what is the highlight of every single driver, commentator and Formula 1 fans' year. And you can really thank your lucky stars for not hosting this event down at Silverstone tonight, because I've just had it from the track. It is absolutely chucking it down the rain in Northamptonshire at the moment. So are we excited about rain for the British Grand Prix?
Yes.
Well, we bloody well should be, because it's the only way we're going to stop Sebastian Vettel claiming it this year. I know that we've got rid of off-throttle blown diffusers. I know Mark Webber won last year, but quite frankly, unless it absolutely hoses down, chances are it's going to be a Sebastian Vettel weekend. Put your hands up if you think Vettel's going to win. Okay, a few of you. Put your hands up if you think Jenson Button's going to win. Never been on the podium before at Silverstone. It might happen for the first time ever. It'd be really funny if he does win though, because Prince Harry apparently is presenting the trophy for the winning driver. And I just want to be party to the conversation on the podium, where Prince Harry hands over the trophy to Jenson Button, and Jenson Button says, well, thank you very much, Your Highness. How's it going with Florence then? Because Prince Harry at the moment is going out with Jenson Button's old girlfriend. They can share a few romantic, notes and compare their machismo up on the podium. That could be fun. Who thinks Mark Webber, not bad for a number 2, could win this weekend? I'll tell him that when I see him tomorrow. Who thinks Lewis Hamilton might win this weekend? Hang on a minute. Oh yeah, his brother is putting his hand up. Well done, Nicholas Hamilton. Here with us today, ladies and gentlemen. And Nick's going to have a go at the game later. Be warned, he's not bad. He even beat Lewis on F1 2010 last year when the BBC did a feature with the boys out at Spa. And a lucky selection of you can all take part in a race that involves Nick, and involves some of the guys from Codemasters, involves me, and I'm absolutely bursting to crash into as many cars in the first quarter as possible, and involves Anthony Davidson as well. Our tame Formula 1 driver is here this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. A round of applause for Anthony Davidson, still in the back. And he's promised that he won't be racing Le Mans style in our little shootout a little bit later on, which means any of you with German descent are not going to get barged off the track or blocked in any way, shape or form. How it is that one man and one team can alienate a whole nation at Le Mans this year, I just don't know. But that's not going to happen with this F1 2011 game, which is what Codemasters think, and I think you're going to think as well when you've had a play of it, the most competitive Formula 1 game that has ever been produced. But don't take my word for it, it's always a bit tough when I'm on there. Please welcome to the stage, from Codemasters, the Chief Game Designer, Steve Hood, and the Senior Producer, Paul Geel.
So I'm Paul, this is Steve. We're here to just run you through a very quick what are the features of F1 2011 before we give you a live stage demo, which could go horribly wrong. But one of us is going to emerge with a lot of credit, and the other one's probably going to be humiliated. So just to recap what Rich said, it's September 23rd release, Xbox 360, PS3, PC. The build that's here today is currently the beta build, so we've still got 2 months of polish and approval still to go. So when you guys get your hands on it, it's handling pretty well. It's pretty stable. The graphics are really, really good, but there's still quite a long way for us to go before it gets into your hands and goes on the shelves. So, in essence, this is the tagline for F1 2011. Be the driver, live the life, go compete. You would have heard us talk all about be the driver, live the life last year. Be the driver's all the on-track stuff, the racing, the AI, the pit stops, improvements there. Live the lives, the paddock style, the media interviews, the cinematics. But really, the reason we're all here today is to go compete. That's the new tagline for F1 2011. It's all about multiplayer, it's all about social experience. So Steve's going to take us through the high-level features now.
Okay, we shall try to. Right, so be the driver. Obviously the core of Formula 1, the core of any racing game. I'll just kind of recap the key things that we're doing in terms of be the driver elements in 2011. It is a racing game. The core of the game is about driving the car. So we haven't just left it from 2010 and expected to roll that into 2011. We've been working on the handling, working on the physics, rewriting the tyre model, rewriting the suspension. It doesn't make it kind of really difficult to drive. It doesn't make it particularly arcade, but we're trying to make it more involving. So now, when you go into a corner, you can lock your brakes up, you can see the tyres smoking, the things that you see on TV. Through a corner, you can make small corrections. You couldn't really get that from the game in 2010. So we've been working on that for a long time. New driver AI system is about trying to get the AI drivers to lap in the same kind of rhythm as a player. There's no brake lights in Formula 1. It's a very fast game. We're driving through corners at 150 miles an hour. We're trying to get the AI drivers to be in sync with the player. Curves at DRS, a big thing in Formula 1 this season. We've really mixed up the racing along with Pirelli tyres. These are really kind of cool tools for the player to get used to. KERS being the power boost, DRS being changing the angle of the rear wing. You can use it whenever you want in practice and qualifying. It's very easy to kind of overcook it coming out of corners and spin. We've been using it a lot in multiplayer games. Enhanced damage and failures. Last year, a load of people said to us, please can we have random failures on the car? We've always hated the idea of that. I see no point in doing 100% Grand Prix and on lap 69 out of 70, suddenly your engine blowing up. So the damage that we've been working on in the background has been about mechanical failures, things that can go wrong in your car over time based on how you're driving it. Improved feedback to the driver is about reworking the race engineer. He's really your kind of guide to what's going on, the bigger picture of a race. So when you're driving around in 15th position and you're hunting somebody down in 14th, you want to know who's leading, where your rival is, what your teammate's up to, am I matching race pace? He gives you all this information now. So you don't have to be studying the OSD, you can be fed this information over the radio. Heightened circuit fidelity is just our fancy way of saying, yes, a lot of the tracks are back in from 2010, there's a couple of new circuits this season in the real world of Formula 1, but we've been working on the lighting model, been working on the fidelity of the tracks, and we'll show you some examples of that in a minute. We still have Live the Life, which is about being that Formula 1 driver, being in the paddock, doing the interviews that we had in 2010. But what we've tried to add this time is kind of the cinematic element to it. When the races are won in real life, you see people, the top 3 drivers in the park firming, it's that raw emotion, getting out top of the car, celebrating with other drivers. If you're not driving for one of the top teams and you just manage to overachieve, you see your driver walking back into the garage and celebrating. New press feedback system is about newspaper clippings, so you're saying something to the media in the game, and now you finally see this reported in the media and you can see what they actually think of you and the stories that are going on in the world of Formula 1. But don't compete, this is why we're here. Last year was very much about the single player experience, the career mode. Now it's about multiplayer. And this includes features such as split screen is a big thing for us this year. We had that in Dirt 3 recently, we've taken a lot of that codes. Now when your friend comes down to your house, you don't have to take the drive, the disc out for drive. You can play against your friend in the same game. You can play a championship season if you want, or just a quick race. You can both drive a Ferrari should you want to. Co-op championship is a huge theme this season. In the career mode last year, it was about looking across the garage and seeing your AI teammate when you're driving for Ferrari, McLaren or Red Bull. Now you've got your mate alongside you. This is where you kind of work collectively to improve the fortunes of your team. But now it's far more personal, so you really do care whether or not he's out qualifying you, getting more points than you, who's the #1 driver in the team, who gets the parts first. A lot of that goes on in real world Formula 1. It's very personal now with Co-op Championship. But to make that a reality, we had to update the number of cars that are online. Last year, if you remember, it was only 12 cars in online races. Now we've got the full grid of 24 cars online in co-op mode. In all multiplayer modes, that's made up of 16 players and 8 AI if you want to fill the grid out. Multiplayer objectives. How often have you gone into a multiplayer lobby and realised you haven't got the best car, you haven't got the best stuff, you're the lowest rank, but you're still expected to win? In the single-player career last year, you were expected to finish in a certain position based on your performance and the team that you're driving for. That's the same in multiplayer now. So if you're in the HRT, maybe you're expected to finish 20th, so you can try and overachieve amongst the people that you're racing against. Spectator mode is about joining on lobby late. There's a race in motion, or you've crashed out, you can still watch the race. You can jump on board of all the different cars. You can change the camera angles. You can view it from a TV angle. There's something to do now rather than just wait for the stats screen. Paul's just going to run you through some example screenshots just to prove that I'm not lying about the update in graphical quality between 10 and 11. It's really quite startling. The guys have been working on improving the quality of the tracks, improving the lighting.
Yeah, I mean, it's very hard to tell from the video that, last year's game looked good, but it's really hard to tell how much forward we've taken it. So here's just a few F1 2010 versus F1 2011 screenshots. So this is Star in F1 2010. If it works. That's how it's moved forward in 2011. New lighting system, new foliage, just much higher track fidelity all round. Silverstone's obviously changed massive anyway. That was it in F1 2010. You can see the new pit complex now in F1 2011. Steering wheels, massive on the community side of things. Guys were screaming out for the accurate wheels this year. So up here you can see the last year's generic steering wheel, just really the badge change in the middle. Whereas in F1 2011 we've got the accurate steering wheels model. Tyres, lots of talk about tyres this year, but not only can you really feel the difference in tyre grip between options and primes, and also the various stages of tyre degradation. So it's really important for us to show you when you're racing around, not only can you feel it, but you can see when you're going to need to make a pit stop. So here's the different compounds. You can see they're fresh on this side of the screen, and as they're moving that way, you can see through the various stages degradation and wear. Garage, spend a lot of time in the garage in Formula 1, so we invested a lot of time into making it look much better as well. So that's the Renault garage in F1 2010. And this is how much that's moved forward in F1 2011. These are all in-game screenshots taken from the latest build. And finally the paddock, you'll notice this shot from the paddock for F1 2010. It's the same shot, we framed it from the same angle every time. And it was only really when we were putting the videos together towards the end of last year's project we realised just how much more we were modelling and not showing off. So we've really gone to tank on that in F1 2011. And here's the paddock. You really start to feel like you're transitioning around the play in addition to the press clippings that Steve said earlier. That's the sense of time progressing. So that's it. We're going to show you the video again quickly while we get into race mode. Be the best one.
Racing, boys.
We're going to try to.
Excellent. Have we chosen Spa as our racetrack for this?
We've already been racing at Silverstone, so I'm going to try and stand in around and do a property cycling jump.
Excellent. We're going to do a brand new sidekick as we commentate on the race. Right, first and foremost, as Steve gets himself in his car. What are we racing, Steve?
I'm Lotus Renault, around Silverstone.
Lotus race Renault around Silverstone. There's a star on the screen, I think they go. What about you?
I'll be in a Ferrari.
So Paul is obviously the more senior of the guys from Codemaster here because he's bagged the Ferrari. Or Steve knows something that we don't about Lotus Renault in F1 2011.
Okay, what I'm also going to try and show off on the three screens we have here, the two on the wide and the one in the middle is the spectator mode. This will only come into effect once the guys actually get onto track. So we might miss the first two corners, but then we should see the rest of the race from spectator mode. Alternatively, you can actually watch on Paul and Steve's screens as well.
Magic. My co-commentator, by the way, is the communications manager at Codemasters, Mr. Andy Gray. The only Andy Gray still allowed to commentate in front of a live studio audience.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before.
You any good?
No.
You're going to smash it? The commentary, come on. Right, out of the garage we go then. And trundling down the pit lane, space for 41 garages, you'll encounter them all down the pit lane. And then we get onto the grid. First time in 50 years we have a new grid at Silverstone. The start-finish straight just before Abbey. And I tell you what, it's not a bad first corner, but turn 3 into the loop's going to test out our boys here to the max. 3 lights, 4 lights, and now 5. And when they go out, we can go racing. Decent start from the man on pole there, Steve, in the Lotus Renault. You can see that Paul is trying to follow him as closely as possible, but that's not a bad gap that Steve is making now as they turn right-handed into the loop. He's going around the outside. What an idiot. That's not the line through there. Look how smooth the man in the Lotus Renault is here. Fantastic. As we head now down the Wellington Straight, 700 odd metres of pure power, and this is where you can use, of course, your KERS button, KERS included. In F1 2011, look, the Renault's gone wide. He's gone wide round into Brooklands. Now he's left the door wide open. Oh, you'd be a double glazing salesman to get through there. What an easy move that was for the Ferrari, who takes the lead, coming out of what used to be the final turn, and now down to the old pit straight. Oh, he's going to go in cops. This is sensational. Anytime you want to join in, Andy, it's a good time.
I'm enjoying your commentary property, it's absolutely fantastic. So as you can see, we can cycle through the different views in the spectator mode for all different cars, going through the AI as well as the two drivers we've got here.
Now this is the moment of the race where if you were Jacques Villeneuve, you'd switch off and fall asleep. But luckily this is F1 2011 and there's no time for sleeping at all, because look, Paul in the Ferrari's gaining a little bit. He's getting instructions from his race engineer and the gap is there. Oh, out of go! A mistake from Steve, and it looks like Paul is back into the lead, and there he is. Oh, that's dreadful round through Vale though. He's going to get a slow exit. Now this corner is absolutely flat. There's 2 ways to take it, racing line or doing what Steve's doing here and going wide. Get on that KERS button. That's it.
Oh, it's nice through there, Crofty, that's very nice.
Now into the loop once again. This is going to cause carnage in Sunday's race. We're going to have bits of broken carbon fibre absolutely everywhere. Making the left-hand turn now out of that hairpin. Now if you're clever about this, in the Lotus Renault, you can now get on your curves, that's it, and accelerating, get that little horsepower boost down the Wellington Straight. And into Brooklands, past the BRDC Clubhouse, which the members will be glad to see is still there in the game. And it's getting very close indeed. A little lock-up of brakes there from Paul in the Ferrari. Andy?
I think the DRS might actually make a difference in the third lap as well, probably, once it becomes on up.
Now, we should get DRS enabled, though, after 2 laps, shouldn't we? If we're running to Formula 1 rules, DRS will be on the 3rd lap here. That's now through Maggotts and Beckett's. I tell you what, you get dizzy just watching them through Maggotts and Beckett's here, especially the lines that Paul seems to be taking in that Ferrari.
I think he's trying to say he's covering his line.
He is, but look, Steve's gaining on him. Look at this, 180, 190 miles an hour in the snow, he's going down the inside! Oh, dear.
I reckon he'll have him into there, though.
Well, he's weaving all over the place, to be honest. Not quite sure, Paul, what line he should be taking. That's a little bit better. Oh! He spun! What an idiot! That is so hard to actually spin there. I don't know how he did it, quite frankly. And it seems now, yes, with a little quick flick on the steering controls there from Steve in the Lotus Renault to make sure there's nobody behind him. And quite frankly, Paul still in a different county in the Ferrari at the moment.
So I think that's some unassailable lead he's got right there.
Well, I don't know. He's starting to get on him a little bit because Steve's taking his eye off the ball. We're on lap 3, which is the final lap of our race. It's a secret of radio, and you never say it's over till it's over.
The thing is that Steve is prone to an error. We've all seen it.
So, no pressure, Steve. Go on, Steve. No, that was quite nothing. Seriously, Steve, no pressure at all. As you go now, out of water, no pressure.
I'm feeling fine.
Oh no, the Ferrari's in front. How did that happen? It's almost like I'm working for the FIA and ensuring that red car's in the lead again. Jean's ought to be proud. Tell you what, I'll even it up just a little bit. How you feeling? Oh, you're on the grass. How did you do that?
I think we need a steward for this.
Yeah, well, Nigel Mansell's a steward. Thank your lucky stars he's not sat in front of your face.
Well, it's made it close though.
You've got a warning there for cutting the corner. And the Lotus Renault's back out of the lead again. Now, this is a fight to the finish. The door's open again. He's out on the grass, going into Vale. Lotus Renault's on the inside, Ferrari on the outside. Who's going to get to the corner first? Just crash into him, for heaven's sake. Oh, he's forcing it wide. He's trying to stay on the track. This is going to be so tight as they come up to the line. The closest finish in F1 2011 history. And by 1/10 of a second.
Fantastic stuff from him, boys.